Okay, in today's episode, we're going to be looking at consumer and producer surplus. So, first of all, consumer surplus. So, consumer surplus is the difference between the market price and the maximum price consumers are willing to pay. Okay, so you can show consumer surplus on this diagram here. Okay, so here is the market price. That's where the market is in equilibrium. And that up there is the maximum price, as you can see on the demand curve. That is the maximum price that consumers are willing to pay. Okay, so the difference between those two and the area under that demand curve is the size of the consumer surplus. Okay, the shaded area there. Okay, so moving on to producer surplus. Producer surplus is the difference between, again, the market price, but it's the difference between the market price and the minimum price that producers will accept. So again, here is the diagram to show producer surplus. Here is where the market is in equilibrium, so that's the market price, and that there is the minimum price that producers will accept, because that's the bottom of the supply curve. Okay, and the area above the supply curve up to the market price, so this shaded triangle here is the producer surplus. Okay, so if you add the producer surplus and you add the consumer surplus, you get the total area underneath the demand curve and above the supply curve, this like big triangle here. So what is producer surplus plus consumer surplus? So first of all, we need to figure out what they are. So surplus is a measure of welfare for the consumer or the producer. So consumer surplus will be the measure of welfare for the consumers, and producer surplus is the measure of welfare for the producers. So if you add the two welfares up, you get society's welfare overall. Okay, so that's the end of that. Hope that made sense, and if you have any other questions, please write them down below.